Do you ever feel like your energy is constantly being drained by requests from others? As if your own life is put on hold, waiting for people who never seem to return the favor? Let me tell you a story. In a small, sun-drenched village nestled among gentle hills, there lived a man named Elias. Everyone knew him, and everyone relied on him. If a cartwheel got stuck, they'd call for Elias. If a heavy package arrived, his was the door they knocked on. For a listening ear on a lonely evening, people would always find Elias on his porch. His answer was always the same, a warm smile and a ready, "I'll be right there." He had built his entire identity on being the reliable one, the constant helper. But while he was busy being everyone's hero, a quiet decay was happening in his own life. The shutters on his house hung loose, his vegetable patch grew wild with weeds, and a leak in his kitchen ceiling was marked only by a slowly growing stain on the wood. He was solving everyone else's puzzles while his own life collected dust. His elderly aunt Clara would watch him return each evening, his shoulders slumped with weariness. "Elias," she'd say, her voice soft with concern, "you mend the whole village, but who mends you?" He would just offer a faint smile. "It's fine, Aunt Clara. Good deeds always circle back," but they never seemed to circle back to him. Then, one autumn day, the sky darkened with alarming speed. A fierce wind howled through the village, announcing a powerful storm. Villagers scrambled to secure their homes and belongings. Elias, true to form, rushed out, but not to his own yard. He went straight to his neighbor Sam, whose workshop tools were completely exposed to the elements. Together, they hauled everything inside just as the first cold, heavy drops of rain began to fall. But this act of kindness came at a cost. Elias's own belongings, the new seedlings he'd just bought, his favorite outdoor bench, a stack of fresh lumber, were all left to the storm's unforgiving mercy. When he finally returned to his own home, his garden was a swamp of mud and debris. He sank onto his steps, the drenching rain mixing with the bitter frustration on his face. His aunt appeared and gently draped a thick blanket over his shoulders. "You saved Sam's tools," she observed quietly, "but you lost your seedlings." Elias said nothing, but deep inside him, something quietly shattered. The next day, heavy-hearted, he walked to the outskirts of the village to see Alara, a retired woodcarver known throughout the region for her wisdom. He found her sitting peacefully by a creek. "I don't understand," Elias confessed, his voice trembling slightly as he sat beside her. "I give so much of myself, yet I feel completely hollow. Why does helping others leave me so broken?" Alara didn't answer right away. She just watched the water flow. "See this creek, Elias?" she finally asked. "It nourishes the banks. It feeds the roots of the trees. But what would happen if it tried to flood the entire meadow?" Elias thought for a moment. "It would spread too thin," he replied. "It would lose its depth and its power." "Exactly," Alara said, her eyes meeting his. "A boundary isn't a wall that keeps people out. It's the bank that allows the river to run deep and strong. Your kindness, Elias, has no banks." She let that profound thought sink in. "For 1 week," she continued, "I want you to practice pausing. When someone asks for your help, first ask yourself, will this cost me my peace or my progress? If the answer is yes, then your reply must be, I cannot today." The first test came almost immediately. His neighbor Sam appeared, looking flustered. "Elias, I need a hand moving this anvil. It's urgent." Elias looked from Sam's anxious face to his own broken front gate. His every instinct screamed to say yes, to be the helper he always was. He took a deep, steadying breath. "Sam," he said, his voice firm but kind, "I need to fix my gate today. I can't help you right now." Sam blinked, utterly astonished. He stood there for a second, then left without another word. The guilt was sharp, almost painful, but Elias turned his attention to his broken gate. By the afternoon, it stood straight and strong, swinging perfectly on its hinges. A small, unfamiliar feeling of pride warmed his chest. The following days brought more requests: a ride to the market, help repairing a loose step. Each time, Elias politely declined, citing his own tasks. And with each refusal, a new sensation settled over him: lightness. A calm, focused energy began to replace the old, bone-deep exhaustion. On the fourth day, the rain fell again. This time, the leak in his kitchen became a steady drip, 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 drip. Elias listened, half expecting a knock on the door, an offer of help from someone he had helped in the past. But the only reply was silence. Instead of bitterness, a clear, powerful resolve rose within him. He gathered his tools and decided to patch the roof himself. It was slow, clumsy, difficult work. But as he wiped his brow, standing under the now dry ceiling, he whispered to himself, "So this is what self-reliance feels like." Weeks passed, and Elias's world transformed. He started rising early to tend to his garden. He repaired his home, piece by piece. He even began reading the books that had sat on his shelves, ignored for years. And then a remarkable thing happened. The constant, urgent requests for his help slowed to a trickle. Sam learned to plan ahead. His other neighbors began to solve their smaller issues themselves. They didn't love him any less. In fact, they seemed to regard him with a new, quiet respect. His home, once neglected, began to blossom. The tired shadows under his eyes disappeared. His laughter returned, genuine and completely unfettered. One sunny afternoon, Elara came to visit. She admired his tidy workshop and the vibrant flowers blooming in his garden. "So," she asked with a knowing smile, "did the village collapse when you stopped carrying it on your shoulders?" Elias's smile was peaceful and confident. "No," he said. "My own foundation finally solidified." Elara nodded. "When you stop saying yes to everyone else," she said, "you finally get to say yes to your own life. Are you pouring from an empty cup? Do you find yourself agreeing to things when you desperately want to decline? Remember this story. A no, spoken with respect, is not a rejection of others. It is a declaration of your own self-worth. Your energy, your time, and your spirit are your most precious, non-renewable resources. Guard them fiercely. The world learns how to treat you by watching how you treat yourself. If this story resonated with you, please give this video a like and subscribe to Daily Tale Dose for more stories that help you navigate life's currents. Thanks for watching.